Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at X-Men Dice Throne, which is brought to you by Dice Throne and the Op. It's for 2 to 6 players, ages 8 and up, and games generally run about 20 to 40 minutes. In X-Men Dice Throne, you become one of 9 innovative and thematic heroes. Every Marvel Dice Throne hero was painstakingly designed and balanced to provide the most thematic experience possible, allowing you to truly embody your favorite heroes like no other game. Featuring all new mechanics and asymmetric designs, these are some of the most innovative and exciting heroes yet. Attack your opponents and activate abilities by rolling your hero's unique set of 5 dice. Accumulate combat points and spin them on cards that have a large range of effects, such as granting permanent hero upgrades, applying status effects, and manipulating dice directly. Yours, your teammates, or even your opponents. So join me in this new series as we take a dive into each new character, starting with my favorite, Wolverine. So this is going to be a unique set of preview videos. We're going to be taking a look at each individual character that you see here. And we're going to start with Wolverine, like I said, but we're going to be taking a look at Iceman, Psylocke, and Storm as well. And you're going to be seeing these through the course of the campaign. So definitely come back and check out the other videos. But first we have Wolverine. His complexity level is a 2, and of course, his weapon of choice is adamantium claws. From the northern wilderness of Canada, hails one of the gruffest, most irascible, brooding X-Men you'll ever meet. But the only thing more intense than his cynical posture is his savage rage, which is so true. He has one of my favorite catchphrases or taglines: "I'm the best at what I do, but what I do isn't very nice." And of course, like all Dice Throne characters, we have our trifold with all our different abilities and so forth, a deck of cards with specific upgrades and abilities for Wolverine, as well as generic cards that you can tap into, and your one sheet, which is going to show your status effects and different abilities that you have in addition to all the other things you have going on with Wolverine. And of course, you have your combat dial and your health dial. Now, let's start with the dice. Because what are going to be the faces of Wolverine's dice? Well, of course, you have the claw marks. Absolutely needs to be one of his faces. The other one in red is going to be adamantium, and the other one is simply his face, his mask, that he'll be using throughout the game with various results around the different effects and the different types of abilities. So across the board, Wolverine doesn't really have a passive effect like a lot of other characters do, and his defense is more about retaliation, super thematic to who he is, less about blocking damage, because as you'd expect, his abilities give him a chance to heal quite a bit. So his primary or ultimate ability is his Berserker Rage, and he's looking for his mask's symbol. He needs 5 of these to activate this, which is basically the 6 on the dice. And you'll see that he's going to get health back, 3 points. He's going to get a rage token, which we'll take a look at rage in a minute. And he's going to inflict 12 points of unblockable damage. So, and if you're playing with multiple targets and so forth, he can disperse this as he sees fit. But it is super powerful, and again, very thematic to Wolverine. And of course, Wolverine has his adamantium claws, and you'll see that you just simply need the claw symbol in order to activate this ability. But you need at least 3, all the way up to 5, to do varied amounts of damage. And if you have 3 of a kind, you're going to get some healing back. But there's a level 2 card, which happens to cost 0 combat points in order to put into play with a permanent upgrade. Fantastic ability for sure. And what's nice is that it doesn't really increase your damage, but you do get more options for healing. 3 of a kind and 4 of a kind. For your healing factor, you're looking for adamantium symbols and your mask to get a nice amount of healing back, as well as a rage token. Again, we're going to take a look at those. And you're going to get to draw a card. Then you have regenerate, which is really kind of key for removing status tokens that happen to be on you. But you're going to get some healing here, as well as inflict some undefendable damage. Then we have Hunter, which is really one of my favorite abilities. You're looking for claws and adamantium here in order to get a card and do 6 of the main basic type of damage that is defendable. But you're also going to be able to roll 4 dice looking for mass in order to get more rage tokens. Now your stack of rage tokens, the most you can have is 3, but these are really like instant actions that you can perform. So if you were to get a 4th token, you could easily spend one of the 3 that you have in order to inflict damage. So the way that works for rage is simply that you can discard a token and a card in order to inflict 3 points of damage, or you can discard 3 tokens in order to draw 1 card. So rage is a huge component to everything you're doing with Wolverine. Now Barrage is your small or large straight ability, and there is a level 2. Now the level 2 card though is going to cost you 3 combat points to put into play, but it does increase the amount of damage you're going to be doing. But the small and large straight are going to always give you some healing back, as well as a rage token and then inflict damage. But the large straight also has the alpha status ability, and the alpha status ability is the unique one that you have for Wolverine. And what you're going to do is apply this token to another player, and you're going to roll off to see who has the highest roll will determine if that token stays. If it does, on their next turn, they will have to skip their income phase. Sever Threat is another one of your super powerful abilities. You're looking for claws and mass for this one. You're going to do 7 points of damage and then have the ability to roll 3 more dice to see if you inflict damage per claw, or if you get a mask, you get 3 points of damage for every mask. But you also have the ability, if you roll adamantium, to apply that alpha effect. So it does so many things. And there is a level 2 of this card, or this ability, and it will cost you 2 combat points to put into play. But it's just going to give you more dice to roll on that second roll that you do for that ability. Power level 9 is looking for all mass for this ability to activate. And you're going to do all the things. You're going to get health, you're going to get rage, you're going to get alpha, and you're going to inflict damage, undefendable damage. Now there's a level 2 card for this. You'll pay 2 combat points, but it will have varying amounts of the same type of thing, but also a secondary ability that if you only roll 3 mass, will have some reduced effect, but still allow you to do multiple things with that roll. And finally, that brings us to Wolverine's defensive roll, which is aptly named Vengeance. So there's 2 levels here. There's a level 2 card with costing you 2 combat points to put in play, but it will just give you an extra dice to roll. So you roll 3 or 4 with the upgraded card. And what it's doing is that for every claw, you inflict undefendable damage, but if you roll mass, you're going to gain those tokens, those rage tokens. So again, like I said, Wolverine's defensive ability is not about blocking damage, but instead retaliating. Now, of course, there's various cards you're going to be using throughout the game that are going to cost you combat points in order to put into play. And a lot of these kind of generic cards are going to allow you to change the dice face of your dice, or even affect other players' dice, as well as giving you combat points and allow you to draw cards. So those cards are really going to help you and aid you get more abilities throughout the course of the game. But of course, Wolverine has his own set of thematic cards. My favorite being his fastball special, because again, you're going after rage. Again, rage is a huge component for Wolverine. You'll get rage and you get to inflict unblockable or unstoppable damage. And you know what? Because it's the fastball special, you're going to take damage in the process. I like that aspect a lot. And then, is that all you got? So this is another card that will allow you to gain rage, but you can also offset the cost of this card if you give up your defensive roll. But I never did that. I don't know. I like the retaliation in that defensive roll for sure. And then you have Intimidate. For someone who has your alpha token, you can force them to discard a card or take damage, which is really nice. And then what I really like here is the fact that he has a couple levels of Frenzy and Recovery. Both of these cards are really going to play into using your rage token. So when you discard a rage token and a card, these cards would really come into play because potentially you get them back into your hand or roll dice to do other various effects. So those are really the key components, different types of cards Wolverine is using throughout the course of the game. Again, relying heavily on his rage and definitely updating or upgrading, I should say, those different abilities that he has. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form. So keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, you know, ever since I was a kid, Wolverine has been 100% my favorite go-to character in the Marvel Universe. I got my hands on every possible comic book, watched every cartoon I could find, still do, and even sat through all the movies. Yes, all the movies. Just 100% my favorite character. And what they put together here, you really feel like you're playing Wolverine. His adamantium claws, his health, his rage all comes into play in helping you tip the scales. Absolutely. And of course, like all Dice Throne characters, they all fit down into this nice box, organized really well for the character, ready to go quickly when you jump into a game. So if you enjoyed this look at Wolverine, definitely come back to the rest of the series as we post the different characters and take a look at those as well. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it for me. And until next time, we'll see you at the table.